Hi everyone, this is Ismael with another video on art education, the arts and art education. It's been a while since I've recorded a video. I've been extremely busy the last couple of weeks and actually the last 2 months or so. But I wanted to shoot this video to talk about a little bit about class management and the importance of class management in your art room, art studio, art class. I don't want to make the video too long, but I just want to touch on a couple of different important points that I think are kind of crucial to helping you as an art teacher become a better art teacher and to fulfill the requirements of teaching art in a public school or a school setting, whatever that may be. So the first thing, one of the things that I had to learn and continue learning because it's really a process, and you'll see from the different groups of kids you'll have every year or whenever the changes occur within your school, that you'll work with different groups of kids. And regardless of what grade they're from, if it's K, when I mean K, I mean kindergarten, elementary, which is K through 5 usually. Here in New York, that's the way it is. Or 6th grade through 8th grade, which is middle school. And of course, high school. Now, one of the things that is really important to understand is, and something that I had to learn and continue learning, is that you need to have control over your classroom management. Now, there are some in the art world or art teachers. I know one professor once told me, well, if you're prepared, meaning that you have your lessons, you're ready to go, you should have no problem with class management. I found that not to be true in terms of experience. Yes, it's important to be extremely prepared for your class. Be more prepared than you should be, let's say, for a normal class, because I think it's better. Please, let me rephrase this. It's important to be prepared at all times. Even if you're doing a coverage for someone else, have a lesson, have many lessons, be prepared to teach, basically, and have good material to engage your students. While that's important, it's important to understand also that class management is really a separate issue. It's not always connected to perfect, lessons or preparation, perfect preparation. That's really what I want to say. So you should have a balance of both. I'm not saying that it doesn't work if you're prepared and you get the kids engaged. But I have learned that if you get a group of kids coming into your classroom who are talking, who are not listening to the instruction or the order that you have set for your class, you need to stop everything and make sure that they understand the rules that basically govern your classroom. That's always a separate issue from teaching. Most teachers, and I'm talking about teachers of various disciplines that I've spoken to, have told me the same thing. It really doesn't matter how good you are in your subject if you don't have a handle on your class management skills. Now, it would be nice, and I say this loudly, and I hope some of these colleges and universities would hear this, because one of the major difficulties of getting an education in art education, as far as let's forget about art education, as any education, any type of education, as far as being a teacher, there are really no courses that are geared to class management. For some strange reason, and I say strange because I think it's really impractical to send someone to teach who's fresh out of college or university and not have a basic sense that they are going to have to know how to manage their classroom. It's not taught in most colleges. It's assumed that if you know your subject and you are prepared, you don't need to worry about class management. Let me tell you the honest truth. That's not true. It simply is not. You need to get an idea of how to manage your class. And the colleges are not going to teach you, sadly. Professors will not get into it, sadly. They'll hint on it and they'll touch on it, but they don't specifically tell you how and why you should go about making sure that you can manage your class. And basically basic rules like no talking when I'm talking as the teacher, how they walk into the classroom, your group of kids, how they go to their seats. Some kids like to fool around and, you know, it happens. They don't want to sit in their designated seats, or they want to talk to their friend across the room while you're trying to give a lesson. Or some of them are just getting out of their seat. You're not managing your class. No matter how wonderful you may have a wonderful lesson, but if those kids are not seated and not paying attention and not engaged, you've lost your classroom. You know, you've lost your lesson. And it's not something that's going to be easy to learn, but you got to get that down. One of the best ways I suggest is talk to seasoned teachers. I mean, I'm talking about teachers who really have a handle on class management. I used to get advice like this, you know, well, you know, you should see all different types of classroom settings. And they'll tell me, you got to go see so-and-so. They have really good management skills. Talk to them. And then, but I'll have others who'll say, oh, well, you should go see a bad class, someone who struggles with class management, to know what not to do. Don't follow the latter. Just listen to good teachers who know how to manage their classrooms. I've spoken to math teachers, English teachers. I've spoken, of course, to art teachers. And some people really amaze me in how some of them have a system, you know, they'll lift up the hand, depending on the group of kids that they're working with. Others have a voice system. Like I have a wonderful teacher in my school who started a thing where when the kids are kind of getting out of control, she'll say a phrase like, I'm trying to remember now what it was, but she'll say a phrase and the kids will respond to that, you know. Hopefully it'll come to me at the end of the video. Or well, she does something like this. This is something else she does. She'll go 1, 2, 3, and they'll say 1, 2, 3, look up and focus. So they'll have like a response type of thing, knowing that it's time now to pay attention, to focus on whatever the teacher is teaching on, so that they can get to work. Other teachers have set rules from the very get-go. You know, when I'm talking, you don't talk. One teacher I know has a rule where students must ask him permission to talk to each other to make sure that it's related to the subject that he's teaching. So some teachers are very strict and very firm in their class management. They don't play, but they get the work done. And the students, believe it or not, even the classes where classes are very strict, let's say the teacher has a real strict setup, kids really appreciate it. And one of the reasons is because no one's fooling around. No one's, you know, going on their own, so to speak. They're focused on what the teacher is doing, and they're engaged in the lesson. And this takes time. Now, there are a few books out there in the world that deal with class management. I've seen maybe one or two really. I'll do a video on that one day. But one of the best ways, better than a book, is really talking to other teachers and asking a lot of questions on how to manage your class. And understand that as an art teacher, it's really imperative, because you got material. You know, you may be working with paint one day, and if there's not a sense of order or control from you as a teacher to make sure the students are following the directions so they can do their project, you're going to have a mess in your hands, you know. And you need to have sort of rules set that the kids are really aware of from the beginning, that are going to help you really gain a better sense of what to do, and know that there are protocols and that there are consequences. Consequences are very important. I try to use a 1, 2, 3 strike rule. You know, after 3 strikes, you know, and I learned this from someone else. After 3 strikes, the student has a talk with the teacher. After that, if there's a 4th strike, the parent gets called, and the parent has to come. There's no buts or ifs, right? You have to really kind of follow through, and the best advice I've ever gotten is follow through. Listen, it may be a kid that you like, you love this child, or they're talented, they're great in your classroom, but one day they really didn't behave well. You can't treat a child differently from another in a classroom. There may be kids you don't like. Let's be honest. There are kids that you're not going to like. You're gonna, oh my God, he's back in my classroom, or she's back in my. You got to be fair, and that means treat everybody fairly. That means no matter if you like the kid or not, or whatever, you might not even care at all about that. Then that's good. You got to be fair with your rules. Make sure that everybody has to follow the rules, no matter who they are. So that's my take for today. Of course, I'm going to try to do more videos like this one, dealing with very kind of specific areas of teaching in a classroom. I know that I'm learning every day new things, and I'm always talking to people, and I love to share what I learn with you. So if you got any great ideas as far as subjects or topics that you would like me to cover or find out more about, feel free to put your comments below. Let me know what you're curious about as far as art education and teaching art. And I will give you the best that I can give you. And like I said, keep asking questions. Talk to other teachers. Don't rely so much on just your books, even though there's some great books out there. But talk to teachers who really are in the field and who are willing to share with you great stuff about how to go about your career in art education. So until next time, please subscribe. And if you like what you see and you like the subjects in the video that I'm talking about, feel free to sponsor me in Patreon. Okay, so until next time, take care. And remember, art can change the world. So go out there and do some art. And do some art with your kids. Take care.